Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Omega Files. I'm your host, Dr. Freedom, and tonight we've gathered to talk about, oh, look, it's Avengers 3, Brokeback Russia. Oh, I mean, Captain America, Captain America. It's got all the Avengers in it except for Thor and the Hulk guy, but it's Captain America. All right, Captain America Civil War, or Drivel War, as I've been calling it. But okay, let's everybody else's little hey there, hi there, ho there. Let's get intro. Let's start with Susan.
Hello, welcome from sunny California.
And good old AJ from down under.
Hello from the land of the future.
And Kevin.
Good evening.
And Anthony.
How you doing?
Beefhead.
Longing, rusted, furnace, daybreak, 17, benign, 9, homecoming, 1, freight car, whiskey.
Got the whiskey.
Okay. I know, that's always thought about those Russian passcodes. You know, they sounded like a bad hobo movie description. Okay. William.
Hey, now, how you doing, everybody?
And coming from the darkness, Vil.
Hello, hello.
Okay, now, my major problems with this movie, let's just hit it running out of the gate, was the fact that, yeah, it was a good action movie. Okay, yeah, there was some humor in there. But that was not Captain America. On what planet was that Captain America? Your buddy Rhodey just got his spine broke, but I'm going to send it. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's Tony Stark's buddy, not Captain America's buddy.
Sorry. It doesn't matter. As a direct result of his quote-unquote insurgent, this guy is now paralyzed for the rest of his life.
Well, I blame Tony Stark. He should have put parachute in that armor.
And because the Vision got a boner and got distracted. Oh, yeah, and joining us late. Hi, Philip. We're just running right out of the gate. I'm just going to throw it right out there. This was not Captain America. I'm sorry. It was totally against anything he's... Yeah, sure. 1 minute we're talking about the Slovakian Accords. I think it was the Slovakian they're called. And then all of a sudden it's my little buddy Bucky. My buddy Bucky. I'm going to screw you all in the name of my buddy Bucky from the 40s that, oh, look, he's been turned into it doesn't matter. He's a freaking loose cannon on the deck. He's running around killing people left and right. All the hydras in his mind. I don't care if he's been smoking bad LSD. Yeah.
I can explain this. The first question that you asked was what happened to the Hulk and Thor. While this Civil War is going on, we're going to see what happened with those two in the Thor Ragnarok. Yeah. That takes place almost the same time Civil War's going on. So that solves that equation right there. As for why Captain America took Bucky's side, you got to remember, and Bucky is the only remaining person that from Steve Rogers' time that is still alive, because Karen Page, I mean, this chick died, and that's what I didn't like, that she passed away. I didn't like that, they grew up in poor Brooklyn during the Depression and joined the military together. And of course, Captain America saw what he thought was the death of Bucky during the war. The thing is that the dumb mistake you could say that Steve Rogers made was he didn't reveal to Tony Stark or even to other members of the Avengers that the Winter Soldier had been brainwashed from the communists after the war, that he'd been brainwashed all this time and had been used to assassinate certain people. That was a mistake Steve Rogers should not kept secret. He should have told his teammates, and especially Tony Stark, because of the way he reacted to his parents being killed. But the thing is, once again, remember, he had to take. First of all, he didn't want to sign that registration act because it made them. Their excuse is that since they are weapons of war like that they should be controlled. But the problem is, if you control a weapon of war, then you could use it when it suits you. And that's not what he wanted. He wanted to be. Him and his team wanted to help people when there was a major threat, not minor threat, like little war going on like that. Major threat that was going on. And he did not want the government to interfere with their personal life. Like say like Hawkeye is a married man that has kids like that. He didn't want the government to know where he lives and who they are like that. That's another reason why he didn't want to sign it. And that's what comes if you notice who joined his side didn't want to get involved with that nonsense. Yeah, I know you can say, that he didn't act like Captain America the way Captain America was in the first movie. But but remember he woke up after 2000. So he missed he's like the way in the combo that he woke up in the 60s. This one woke up in 2000. So he missed everything that was going on in history. So to him, he didn't know what happened after the war. I don't think they showed it that much of him going through using a computer to see what happened in history, where he could be upgraded on that, to learn what happened. But the thing is, you gotta also, if you feel that you didn't like this movie, that's your opinion, and you're entitled to it. My opinion is, I love this movie very much. It is much better than Batman v Superman. But like I said, I got little nitpicks on it, but my rating is always going to be much higher than Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
But another question you asked, why was not this in another Avengers movie? But remember, they were signed up to do 3 Avengers movies, and the third one is going to be broken up into 2 parts. So the third, if you could say what happened after Avengers Age of Ultron had to go to Captain America, the third one. They didn't want to make the mistake that they did with Iron Man 3. That you had this major threat to Tony Stark, and he called on nobody from the Avengers to help him. Not Captain America, nobody. Not even the Black Widow, who appeared in the second one. That made no sense. That's another reason why that movie, even though it cost $1 billion mark, it totally. That's why. But you gotta say this. This movie we saw members of the Avengers, and we also saw new characters being brought in. We saw the Black Panther be brought in. We saw Spider-Man. We saw how Ant-Man is from after his movie, and we see how the Vision is developing after the Age of Ultron movie. How he's doing it. So we saw some new things as time has been passing by, but it's not a perfect movie, but it's not a sucky movie. So, but the thing, and then you gotta give one thing that this movie has only been out for 2 weeks, and everybody hit the $1 billion mark already. So you gotta give them props on that.
What I would say to follow on from AJ, and the point that you were saying is that why is this not an Avengers movie? Yes, there is the structure of how the deal signed and everything like that, but at its core, this is a moral question, and that's not something you necessarily deal with the Avengers. The thing with Captain America, he is the Boy Scout, he's the ideal. So in essence, that is the best character to have a moral dilemma if you want to have that centric to a movie with him. Also from the point of view as well is that apart from having his super abilities, it's not a fantastical superhero, so it's good, like the last film which the Russo brothers have done, this one and that one. It's gone away from the fantastic Joss Whedon sort of big spectacle, and this is sort of they've made it more of a political thriller than a superhero movie. It is more like a sort of Manchurian Candidate type movie.
Floor is wide open. Whoever wants it next.
I'll take it. Well, let me just get this out in the open because I've been sitting on this comment for 2 weeks. Doc knows. So I thought it was a B movie script with an A grade production value. I thought it was, I call it Captain Kardashian in the Twilight Wars. I thought it was an atrocious movie, to be honest with you. I was sitting there, and I was going, oh, God, at 30-minute mark, when is this movie going to be over? I just, there was nothing, in my opinion, that was redeeming about this movie. It just, the storyline was, lackadaisical at best. I mean, I'd rather sit through watching the Kardashians than sit through this movie again, or even the Twilight Saga than watch this movie. It was just horrible. The only thing that was redeeming was the reaction of Elizabeth Olsen's portrayal of Scarlet Witch when she, basically, murdered a shit ton of people in that building. Her reaction was just, and afterwards, her reaction was, I think the only part of the movie that was worth watching. So, yeah, I have to agree with the doctor on this. I did not enjoy this movie at all. I've enjoyed most of the other movies, but this one was just, I just couldn't, I can't suffer through it again. It was horrible.
You see, it was, like I said, there were good moments, and, before I pass it on, I just want to throw in this bit. Here's the other thing. We just sat there at the very beginning of the movie. We watched Scarlet Witch accidentally blow up how many frickin' people in an office building, and yet Steve Rogers, who's supposed to be Captain America, sits there and says, I shouldn't have to sign these accords, even though it's basically my fault they're in frickin' existence in the first place. It's like, no, I had to go play Glory Hound looking for my buddy Bucky, and sure enough, people died. But no, I don't want to be held accountable. I'm like, what? How is this supposed to be a good character? Steve Rogers, a.k.a. Captain America, he's that annoying paladin if you've ever played Dungeons & Dragons.
Yeah.
He's going to do right no matter what. No. I'm not going to sign these. It's basically my fault they're going to come about because I just took an inexperienced mutant or whatever she is into combat, and she killed how many people, but I'm not going to take a story. I'm not going to take account for it. Just F you, Tony.
Yeah, she's supposed to be, Captain America's supposed to be that Marvel's version of the moral Superman. He's supposed to be the high and mighty, right way, always the right way, and it was not portrayed very well in this movie. I mean, I can understand why he was going with his friend, but to basically screw over the whole freaking planet just for one buddy is just, that's kind of ignorant. I mean, I just did not enjoy this. And I don't enjoy a lot of these movies, it seems like, and I do bad reviews, but this one, I was suffering through the whole, after the 30-minute mark, I was suffering. It was horrible.
I know, it was kind of like an episode of Knight Rider. There was 45 minutes of boring plot development that nobody gave a damn about later.
I have a slightly different take, and for the most part, I agree. Although I could see him not signing the accord if it was with the UN, but he would if it was with the US. With the UN, no, because he did bring up the point. There's governments in the UN that are total shit, and they might stop them from going where they need to go. I could see that part of it. But most of his reaction was totally out of character.
Okay, it's not anyone else. Like I said, floor is wide open. Okay, AJ, you got your hand up. Then we'll go.
I was just gonna say, at least Captain Rogers didn't break Bucky's neck in the movie and then scream about it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay, Susan, looked like you wanted to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just like, I'm coming at this from a different perspective. I didn't read the comics. I don't really have the background, and I don't have a problem with Captain America striking a slightly rebel pose because, I mean, he may be Captain America, but he's still a dude inside of the suit. He's not a robot that's programmed to serve America and to have a certain personality. I mean, personalities can shift, but I'm like, maybe this his integration or his reunion with Bucky was so intense that it did sort of give a shift to his personality and a shift to his focus on following the system that he was raised up in. I mean, he was a rebel from the time he was a kid. He tried to join the army at like 15 or 16, and he tried to serve in World War II as a scrawny little boy, and he was and and Bucky was his hero, and Bucky was going, and Bucky was going to do this thing, and it was going to be amazing. And so I mean, he's always had a look up to Bucky thing, and so if Bucky was being messed with, you know, of course, you know, you can say that the communists, you know, flabbergasted him, screwed with his head anyway. But yeah, so but he was absolutely, completely, you know, pointed towards, you know, making a reunion, the reconnection with this hero of his. I mean, if you know, if Susan Foreman said this, like I don't know, I don't really have a life hero right now. I've got a couple, but you would know what they would. Well, anyway, if they said that if they were suddenly, like, you know, gone and then come back into my life, they're still as important to me. So I really liked how he went behind his loyal friend and stood beside that, and then he moved into this place of rebel, you know, against Tony. And I mean, Tony had all the funny lines and all the great comebacks. Tony was, like, you know, generous in pursuing him, but you know what can you do when the shift has already happened? So I mean, Tony, I thought that the comedy and the lightheartedness was so rich in this. So anyway, that's my statement for now.
Okay, let's pass it on to somebody who ain't spoke yet. Kevin, go ahead.
I love this movie. Really, from the start, one reviewer said that the first 30 minutes that they said that the other brother of the Russo brothers had directed the first 30 minutes, and the other brother the full movie. Yeah. The reveal that Bucky had killed Stark's parents, everyone in the theater was saying "Holy shit!" together, really, when that happened. And I love the movie itself. It's very well. Of course, it's also an movie based on the Earth and not in space or anything. It's really about, just like Tim said, it's a political thriller, just like the last movie. I like the airport scene, 30 minutes of awesomeness, and Spider-Man was just awesome as he should be, just like Peter Parker, and not that other piece of crap that they called the Amazing Spider-Man. And Dawn of Justice. What a piece of shit was that. Oh, crap.
Okay, let's move on to Philip. Go ahead, Philip.
It's good enough. Anyway, but for the film, if you can hear me, I liked it because it started off really, really good with lots of action in the beginning. And then it went through to the political bit that you're just talking about. I do think it's a bit silly to pit them against each other at the end of the movie, when they could have done a bit more with, like, facing an adversary that they couldn't beat, basically. A bit like how the movie I just watched earlier today was like. So it's okay.
Okay, and I think we just lost Philip.
Hey, he said it was okay.
Okay, that's what all right, guys. All right, I was just making sure we didn't lose him there for a second. Okay, let's move on to Randy. Randy,
fantastic, but it did beat.
Here's my review.
Hang on.
Here's my review. Thought it kicked ass. I loved it. Scarlet Witch rocks. Thought it was a great film, brilliant, wonderful. I loved it. Haters can suck it.
No,
to the fella who excruciatingly watched it, you should have just got up and left. Anyway, why put yourself through such pain if you didn't like it that much? But I loved it. Brilliant. Peace out.
Okay. Well, once again, like I said, to me, okay, Spider-Man. Why?
Well, that was the only. Well, in the comic, Spider-Man played a big role in the comic Civil War, and since Sony realized that with all that money they throw into it, they couldn't make a good Spider-Man movie. That's why they back to Marvel. So Marvel said, "Let's use them for a little bit in this movie, as a who the actor's going to be, how the costume is, and then get ready for the next Spider-Man movie, which Marvel's going to be doing."
Homecoming.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else?
If I may, on the motivation type of thing, because you're saying, it's out of character and everything like that. I think I can understand it, because if you look at Tony Stark, he's working from a perspective of grief. To be honest with you, his character in the first movie, he's sort of like 2 thumbs up to the government and everything like that. He's going to do what he wants. But as his story has evolved through the previous movies, he's got survivor guilt, post-traumatic stress. So he created Ultron in the last Avengers movie. So everything he does results in something going catastrophically wrong. So he's just like completely driven by guilt. And the thing that tips him over the edge is when he meets the mother of that kid when he goes to MIT. So that's what his driving factor is behind it. Steve Rogers is going from his sort of history in the Second World War, his thing about switching governments, the thing with Hydra being sort of integrated into every major power. So it's sort of the only way that you can trust, to keep a honest council and do the right thing is to do it yourself. So from that point of view, I can understand the mechanisms behind the two.
All right. Anyone else? Well, floor's still wide open. If there's any other points.
Well, you gotta give props for the actor playing the Black Panther. He played the role
Brilliant.
Excellent. He was
Brilliant.
Brilliant. I can't wait. I can't wait to see the Black Panther movie. That I can't. Even though she was only there for a little while, and Sharon Carter was pretty good. You saw her help Steve Rogers in certain things like that. But I would like to see, since ABC's not doing the Peggy Carter anymore, maybe they could do a Netflix series with Sharon Carter and what's going on with S.H.I.E.L.D. like that. Just for ha-has.
Isn't it nice that Captain America just happened to find a chick who's somewhat related to his former love flame?
Well, that show died on the vine because people got sick of the plot being every man is stupid and they need Agent Carter to set them straight.
Sorry, I just had to bring that up.
hey, save that for the Spider-Man movie.
Yeah. Just had to bring that little bit up. That's one of the more clever memes I've seen on the internet lately is, check it out, Aunt May is Benjamin buttoning her way through these movies. Because, what's going to be next? 12-year-old Spider-Man and Aunt May is dancing under the name Cinnamon at the local bar to pay for her and, Peter's living? I'm like, sheesh.
Remember, the Peter Parker right now is 15, so if you look at it, since Uncle Ben was older than Peter's father, that put her in that right age right now.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Okay, but yeah, Black Panther I did like. I'll say that much. I did like the way he was introduced. I liked the way the character was carried. Actor did a brilliant job with that character. But like I said, it's just, to me, the thing that was completely out of character was Captain America throughout this whole damn movie. There was 150 ways you could have resolved this situation without it coming to physical blows. There's no way Captain America would have attacked his own team members just to prove a point. Not to mention the fact, look, the one guy just got shot down. He's paralyzed for life. And what does Tony get in return? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's really going to repair Rhodey's back and put him back into action. I'm sorry. And what are these guys going to do? Spend the rest of their lives in Wakanda, sitting there, juicing it up on the veranda, waiting for the day they might be allowed back into America?
They could go to America, any part or any part of the world. You know why? Because since T'Challa is the king of Wakanda, he has given them diplomatic immunity of anything.
Can't grant diplomatic immunity.
Yes, he can. He is the king of Wakanda.
No, you
And if they
cannot.
want, yes, he can. Considering every part of the world wants a little piece of vibranium.
No, you cannot.
Yes, he can.
It doesn't-
He's the only one that has vibranium.
He can give them diplomatic immunity in his country only. The second they
Yes,
step out
he
that
can
country,
grant them sanctuary.
killed by drones as terrorists.
Now, the thing is, yes, he can grant them sanctuary and get away with it, but there's no way they're going to be able to set foot on any other country's soil on this planet.
Now,
cut the vibranium supply. Let's see how well that works. Didn't we have a couple of other countries try to cut the oil supply a while back?
Vibranium is more expensive than oil.
Well, let me point something out here. It's a fictitious universe when there's an African country that's more advanced than any other country on the planet.
Very true.
And it was stated that they literally are the most advanced country on the planet.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, Wakanda is. Because of that vibranium.
But, like I said, anyone else? Any other points you liked in the movie, disliked, anything else? Floor is wide open.
Yeah, the word's the end.
I'd echo what you said. The Black Panther. First of all, the way the character moves. As soon as the bomb blast goes off at the UN, the sort of leaping, the posing, and everything like that is a fantastic lift. It just looks like something out of a comic book. The way the character moves, which is superb. Zemo is really good. To be honest with you, I'm actually inclined to say he has been my favourite villain out of any of the Marvel movies they've had. He's not got a magic stick that can touch you and make you go bad. He is focused, he is driven, and just wants to basically, he's going to go out of his way, and he's cold, heartless, calculating, and that's the best thing. And at the end of the day, he gets what he wants. He wins. The bad guy wins at the end of this, which is a nice way to sort of finish it up. Because he doesn't care. He's ready to kill himself because job's done at the end of it. It's only Black Panther that stops him.
Yeah, that I agree with you on. That's one thing I did like was the villain in this movie. It wasn't Hydra. It wasn't some big, bad, superpowered guy from outer space. It was just a really, really pissed off dude who knew which buttons to push to make your enemy take himself out. That I did like.
Yeah, it was just a son looking for revenge for his daddy. That's all that was.
Well, his dad, his wife, and his child.
Well, yeah.
On that note, mild emergency over here, so I'm going to have to cut out early. But
okay, catch you later, Bill.
Okay.
I was going to say, though, technically, Zemo really wasn't a bad guy. He had the same misfortune that Captain America had also with Iron Man. He's just a third party that's taken the situation and, taken it to his own conclusion. Because you got three parties who are pretty much the exact same situation. They've all lost something, if not everything. So, one's trying to defend everyone, Iron Man. You got Captain America who's trying to protect his own interests and his friends. And then you got Zemo who just wants to protect the interest of his, family's memory and try and get retribution.
Yeah, I would have to, if I was going to say I had familiar ties with anybody in this movie, it would have been Zemo, because something happens to my family, I'm gonna burn the fucking planet. Period. The whole world will burn.
Don't worry about it. I'm putting a language warning on this one because I thought even I was gonna slip.
Yeah, you slipped a couple of times, and that was my only swear word. So, but yeah, I would burn the whole planet to get revenge, just like Zemo did. So, but still, I think honestly, out of the main heroes, the so-called heroes, I think the only one that portrayed any semblance of humanity would have been Elizabeth Olsen's Scarlet Witch, because it wasn't just over in one scene. It was throughout the whole movie. She was dealing with the repercussions of what happened in the first few minutes when she, and they didn't even show that there was people in the building. That was the best part. They just said it afterwards. She assumed that building was full of people and freaked out. And then when she found out the numbers afterwards, 11 people killed. That's not that bad, to be honest with you, considering how big that fight was. It still wreaked havoc on her emotionally. And, seeing Data from Star Trek in there dressed up in green and red, I thought that was kind of lame. The way they portrayed Vision. So I'm hoping he gets turned into scrap metal when they rip that mind gem out of his head. So
I know, it's like on that one scene there. Yeah, it's like, oh, sorry, I popped a boner, so I shot the wrong guy.
yeah.
I take it you weren't a fan of the sweater then, no?
Is the next movie going to be Iron Man talking to the Vision about the birds and the bees? Wear protection. You don't want to get a virus.
I know Anthony says he's not a big fan of the script, but I've got to say, I don't think it was that bad. It was clearly 3 acts. You did have 3 acts to it. So
you had 3 acts, but on par, the script was, because of what they cut out, was, in my opinion, no better than Batman v Superman. And I did enjoy Batman v Superman because I went and actually watched all the cutscenes, and that made it make sense. But theatrically, neither movie. I think they were A-budget films with B scripts. I mean, it was, it was the Kardashians meets Twilight, in my opinion. So
I don't know, because the thing for me, if you want to draw comparisons between the two, you've got this one. Why the villain is doing what he's doing. You can
they explained it.
Yeah.
That's great. You understand that. You can. Well, me personally, I can understand why the two of them are fighting, because they have 2 distinctly opposing points of view. So you can understand the reason for them fighting. Yes, it could have been, by talking, it could have been resolved. You could say that for both movies, but you could say the part of the aggressor and everything like that is taken from Team Iron Man's side. With regard to the rest of the script and how it's done, you get a really good feeling of you get the upset that the Scarlet Witch has, but the other thing that's I think you're going to get building, and hopefully if you're going to have the comic book idea as you go along with it, is that she is the most powerful player on the field, because she literally takes out at one point or another virtually everyone who's in that fight. She's the strongest one in that airport battle. So
in the comics, doesn't she rewrite the reality?
Yeah, which leads to House of M. Yeah,
she did that. But in this one, she can control the mind gem that has that the Vision is using. She can control it.
Yeah, that's freaking crazy. I mean, you're talking about an Infinity Gem, one of the 6 most powerful items ever created in the universe, and she turns it on and off like it's a dildo.
I was just thinking, Tony Stark has to make a special attachment for the Vision's groinal socket.
The other thing that I did like about this movie, which maybe it's me just reading too far in it, I don't know, is that there's a feeling of brotherhood to it, and that all focuses around Cap's character. You've got brothers in arms, which is Rhodey and Cap, Rhodey and Tony, and you've got Falcon and Cap. They're brothers in arms. But I would say that's more actually brothers, to be honest with you, because when Cap was a kid, Bucky would look out for him. When they went to battle, Cap would look out for Bucky, and he lost him, so he has guilt over that. And when he came back, he sort of had a little brother relationship with Coulson. Coulson died, so he failed him as well, and he formed a brotherly relationship with Tony, because they would be like bickering brothers and everything like that. And this row fell apart, and then Bucky comes back. It's the brother that he failed, so of course he wants to try to repair that. So there's a really sort of the idea of brothers being torn apart, and families, teams being broken down from the inside. It is. I think it's actually really good in that sense, and I do like it that it's done like that sort of drama, and it's all wrapped up in something that's more of a espionage spy film. I think you could class it as a throwaway scene, but the funeral scene, the eulogy that Sharon Carter gives, that's the decision point for Captain America, that he's not going to sign, because he's still undecided until he goes to that. And the eulogy, she says, sometimes it's easy to be a tree and stand firm and do what you believe to be right. And he trusted Peggy implicitly, so that's part of the decision behind it.
Is
I
there?
agree.
Is there? Let me point this out. Is it just me, or is Tony Stark turning into an emo teenage girl in all these films? He seems to be going backwards.
I think it's the guilt aspect. Yeah,
it's the guilt, and of course now he's alone because his relationship with this lady, they broke up.
Yeah, with Pepper Potts. Yeah, when the Paltrow is a moody bitch that doesn't want to take the money they offered her.
Yeah,
good for it now.
Okay, hang on a second. Susan, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, he's not. He's this movie. They like intentionally went back to his youth and then showed that stuff, and so I can see where you'd see that you feel like he's going back in time, but there wasn't as much projection from that point into the future time of that emo, sad doing the Bertuzzi thing. He was actually fully processed in this. He's more, instead of emo, goth girl, he's like a sass master. He's like the sassy one in the whole enchilada. He's great. His humor is amazing.
Well,
He's
maybe
a funny sassy dude. That's all I gotta say.
Maybe my emo comment wasn't right. He started off in the first Iron Man film as Tony Stark did as Dwayne Johnson, and now it looks like he's Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah, but you got to remember, this guy has lost a lot through his entire life. He lost his family. He has lost Pepper Potts. He threw his suits away for Pepper Potts, and she still left him.
Yeah,
this guy lost a lot, and then Captain America basically slaps him in the face. I mean, how would you feel if you lost a lot of things throughout your entire life?
Well, that's the thing. I don't think that way, so I don't comprehend the way he's gone from this big gung ho guy to a giant vagina. So that's not my mentality. I don't think that way. So it's hard for me to comprehend this big gung ho go out party dude to
Don't be sexist, Anthony.
Huh?
Okay, Kevin, you've been too quiet. Let's hear from Kevin. What you got anything to add into this?
I want something to show you.
Oh, go ahead.
Zemo had on his mind every day.
Oh man. Yeah, it's like I said, it's a twisted pretzel of a movie. There's a lot of people who love it. The thing is, to be honest with you, perfectly honest, I'm stuck in the middle of the road here. It's just, there was just like so many unnecessary characters. You could have saved a half hour out of this movie if you just got rid of the gratuitous Spider-Man appearance. There was no reason for that character to even be in this movie at all, other than the upcoming one. Now, I know he was in the comic book, but when you're at this stage of development, let's throw in a new character now to get involved in this. Hell, I'm still trying to figure out why the fuck Hawkeye was there. And don't worry, like I said, I'm putting a language warning on this because I got to say it that way. Why the fuck Hawkeye was there other than to have little slappy fights with frickin' Black Widow? That was it. And Black Widow, look, she betrayed everybody. Big ding-dong hoopity shit. Like you didn't see that coming from 50 miles away at the beginning of the movie. Come on. When doesn't she backstab everybody? And like I said, everybody, I want my own Black Widow movie. Yeah, we've already seen pretty much her origin story in frickin' Peggy Carter. So why waste the time? Because fans bitch. But that's a whole nother argument. But like I said, you had a good villain. You had a great presentation with Black Panther. But like I said, I'm sorry. I do not see Steve Rogers just saying, okay, let's get into an all-out throwdown with everybody rather than try to reason it out over my little Bucky who I lost during the war. Boo fucking who.
Well, you got to remember also the order was given for him to get killed, not to be captured.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because he fought with him in the war, and he lost Bucky in the war, and then that goes in the brother.
And he was lost. He was dead.
That's right, and that's why he didn't want to. He didn't want that to happen again. That's
Yeah.
how come he stood by him. You gotta be. Remember, anybody here who's serving the military, you know that your compadres are your brothers, and you will defend them to the death from other enemies. So that's what he did. And then
So you're telling me if let me throw you a hypothetical. You're telling me if Steve Rogers were to have taken Bucky to the local thing and handed him in himself, they would have shot him dead right there.
They would have tried to kill him right there.
No, they wouldn't have tried to kill him.
Somebody would have tried to kill him. Remember, Hydra is still around. They are hiding, and they don't want their secrets to be come out. And
No, they wouldn't have killed him right then. They would have made it had an accident sometime before he went to court.
You see, you heard him right there. There would have been an accident. They would have tried to one way or another. They would have got rid of him, especially the Soviet Union.
Harvey Oswald.
Yeah, something like that. Remember, he was brainwashed in the Soviet Union, and you know over there they don't want their secrets to be revealed of what they did to him and how many people they sent him out to kill.
Paralyze one of your team members and possibly.
That is only man who built all these secrets. He built a parachute.
There was no other option. It was Bucky or your entire team. You just fought off how many invasions with? Oh, fuck you! I'm going with Bucky.
Oh my goodness!
All of you.
All right, time for a vagina break.
That's how it is. You stay with it, but Tony Stark, man of genius.
Shut up!
Master
Shut up!
Shut up! You should have built something to say of the fail safe. Someone falling that house.
50 fucking ways you could have gotten this fight.
Oh, come on. Put your titty, baby, to get back on it. That's what Civil War was about.
Stop fucking each other.
No, with as many times he's been dead. And boom. Oh, look. What's his name can still walk. Oh, look. I didn't have to go possibly kill one of my friends who's my teammates. Screw all them.
But then they wouldn't have had their Michael Bay moment to make that $1 billion.
It's a movie at the end of the day. You're right. It would have been a short 20 minutes. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You can have your hand up for a minute.
Well, I just want to say that I agree with everything that Mr. Beefhead just spoke about. And, yeah, I agree with Dr. Freedom. I didn't think Spider-Man was needed in this movie. I didn't like him being played by a young teen kid or whatever.
I actually think he's been best at.
No, I did. Now, here's one thing I want to clarify. The kid did an awesome job as Spider-Man. I'll give him that. It's just I think the character, you could have just saved it for the new movie instead of just sticking him in here just for the sake that he was in the comic book and also trying to plug the upcoming movie. His performance was pretty good. I enjoyed his Spider-Man. I think the character was unnecessary. It was a good 20 minutes you could have devoted to something else or just cut off the length of this movie.
My favorite character was Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet Witch, yeah, I can't complain about her really either. She was dealing with this situation and all that, but at the same time, I'm getting sick and tired of these uber-powered, ugly, upper death characters that can just do anything they want. You see, to me, those kind of characters are getting boring. But at the same time, she was trying to deal with the situation that she was being dealt with.
Yeah, so and you had some nice believers to stare at, too.
But on top of that as well, I would say, I know you're saying about Bucky and everything like that. He was framed for the explosion at the United Nations building. He was basically, in essence, keeping a low profile. He had basically vanished off the radar. So
yeah, he pulled a Bruce Banner and the Edward Norton Hulk.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the point. It was engineered whereby he was made a target. So that's why I think Cap was trying to make defense of him at that point. Other things I liked in the movie were Red Wing, which in the comic books was an actual bird.
Yeah.
They made it into a drone. I thought that was actually a very good way to do it, and I liked how they've now sort of added the sort of red and white stylings and trim to that. And the one thing that was missing from Batman vs Superman humor, they did have in this really nicely. The bit where they're sitting in the Beetle and it's all like, "Can you move your seat forward?" No, because there's that tension between Falcon and Bucky. Yeah. He doesn't really like him, but he goes along with it because he trusts Steve. Thunderbolt Ross coming back as well. as a man who's had an epiphany, and if he lost two nuclear bombs, they'd want to know where it is. So that's a good way to address the issue of Thor and Hulk not being in this movie. There are some very nice little like humorous asides to it. I love seeing the raft. I never thought I'd get to see that in a movie, and that looked quite sexy, that coming out of the water as well. So there were a lot of good stuff to it. The watch that turns into a glove.
But like it or hate it, we all have to remember at the end of the day, it is just a movie. They did have to have the confrontation and all that, sell tickets and whatnot. It's just, like I said, I just did not like the way Captain America was portrayed in this movie. It made him look too much like an arrogant a-hole like Tony Stark was back in the beginning. And that to me was just never Captain America.
I think to a certain degree, though, there's no right decision in this movie as well.
No.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's your own personal opinion which team you fall into.
Yeah.
And even at the end of it, where Tony Stark is sort of like the villain, and then he goes off against Cap and Bucky, you can understand because he goes, "Dude, he killed my mom," and that's it. You can completely understand him then just like going off.
Yeah, I just stood here and watched him kill my mom on videotape. It's like, excuse me, you're still what? But okay, remember, like I said, at the end of the day, it is just a movie. It has crossed $1 billion. So it is doing relatively well.
It's the first movie this year to hit the $1 billion mark.
I'm going to start it off with this. I'm not going to completely trash this movie into the dumpster. There was a lot of it I did enjoy. Like I said, I love the way they introduced Black Panther. The villain was original. He was not some high-powered, secret intelligent organization. He was not this huge transgalactic supervillain with dubious powers. He was just a very disgruntled guy who had a bad set of circumstances happen that he blamed the Avengers for. So I'm going to smack this movie with a 6.5 out of 10. And all right, let's go down the line. Let's rate this sucker. We'll put it to bed. So I'm giving it a 6.5. Let's go on to AJ. What are you giving this baby out of 10?
8.5 out of 10. There was a few logical gaps in the movie, but overall it was pretty good.
Who knows? Maybe in the longer cut we'll get a thing out of it. You never know. Okay, Suzanne.
I'd give it a 9 out of 10.
All righty. What about you, Kev?
10 out of 10. Best Marvel movie.
Great. Wait a minute. I dropped the F-bomb more than you did. What the hell's wrong with you?
Nothing. I am now more prepared on my language.
His mom is outside the camera range. He's right there.
No. The one is there.
Anthony, what do you give this one out of 10?
I give it a 4 out of 10. And that's being generous.
Yeah, that's what I gave Batman vs. Superman about for me. I think I gave it a 4.5. Oh, okay. Like I said, there were a lot of humorous points on this movie. That's why I had to give it a 6.5 also. Okay, what about you, Beef?
I've got to give it a 9. What I did like about it is, you had a lot of other people in it, but you did not have to waste time explaining backstories again. You didn't really get a backstory with Black Panther. You didn't have to go through the obligatory one with Spider-Man. It's just a case of, you know who these people are, this is what it is, get on with it. So that was really good, and that would have been so much time wasted. Is it a bit long? Well, yeah, I suppose it is, but I didn't notice it so much myself. Maybe it could have done with being 20 minutes shorter. And it's a big book to try and translate into a movie. I mean, in the comic book, it's originally a bunch of school kids being killed, which you just can't do in a movie. Mm-hmm. So the way they actually transferred the idea of having a civil war in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they actually did really well. I did like how the Russo brothers have done it. I thought the script was solid, and it does leave things really open for good things to come. So, yeah, I'm really excited for it. I can't wait to see a Black Panther style movie. I think this was actually the best version of Black Widow. And the one Easter egg that I did like in it was that there was an Agent Carter Easter egg in it. I don't know if any of you picked up on it. When he said about Dottie, which was some girl that Bucky was trying to impress back in the day, which I thought was
Dottie, that's right. Yeah, the one who was basically the Black Widow type origin story.
Yeah, I thought that was a nice little kiss back to the past, so that was good.
Okay, William, what do you give this baby out of 10?
I give it a 9 out of 10. The only thing I nitpick about it was I don't know why they killed off Peggy Carter. Man, I mean, yeah, she was 95 years old, but they could have like waited another time to get that character off. But again, it was a great movie. One I wasn't expecting. I thought it would be just an average good movie, but this one to me surpasses. So that's why I give it a 9.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it at Batman versus Superman level. I did actually enjoy quite a bit of it. Okay, Rainey, what do you give it?
I give it a 9.5. I love Black Panther story, and I love Scarlet Witch. They kicked ass.
Okay, and and now joining us at the end of the podcast, Ryan.
Apologies. Had the times completely muddled up. But that's the joy of not being in the podcast for a while and living in Australia. But my thoughts on the movie. I actually really loved it on my second viewing. It took me my second viewing to appreciate it. Walking out the first time, I didn't know what to think. It was just so much to take in. And, but after walking out, Spider-Man was absolutely sensational. I still prefer Andrew Garfield, I will be honest, but I'm not going to be getting too sorry about that. We have a new Spider-Man, and that's fine. And Black Panther was absolutely the highlight for me. I got super excited. Just seeing him and the way he moved was just absolutely fantastic, and I am pumped for his movie. If I was to have one complaint, the airport scene, it ended rather abruptly. Vision comes down and apologizes to Scarlet Witch, and then that's it. They're all good. Then he tries to kill Falcon not 5 seconds later. Seems a bit odd.
That when he popped the boner and hit the wrong target. Yeah. Okay, what do you give it out of 10?
Oh, I have to give it a 10. Despite the little nitpicks I had, I have to give it a 10. Oh, and Hawkeye. How can I not mention Hawkeye? One of the funniest characters in this thing, I have to say.
You forgot Ant-Man.
We did forget Ant-Man.
And
And
so
Flash Giant Man.
I'm not going to lie, I have not seen the Ant-Man movie yet. So it was a nice surprise seeing him, but I haven't seen the Ant-Man movie.
And talking about funny moments, how can we not talk about Vision's sweater?
Oh.
I thought Vision was going to start up a show like Dr. Phil. Hello, I'm Dr. Vision. I am here to solve all your problems logically. But okay, so out of 10, you gave it a good 10. All right. Like I said, it was nice having a diverse cast this time, where not everybody was on one side of the fence. You got to have a little conflict every now and then. Who knows?
Virtual civil war in the Omega Files.
Yeah. The thing is this: I am definitely going to buy a copy of this movie when it comes out. Maybe I'll watch it again and learn something a little more, and I'll change my opinion on it later down the line. It's been known to happen. But like I said, it just felt to me like Dwayne, what do you call it? Captain America was just way out of character in this whole movie. It just did not sit right with me. But that's my opinion. It's not going to be the same as everybody else's. And don't worry, I'm sure they're going to have a sequel. My buddy Bucky.
I don't know, but he's in cryogenics, so you might not see him no more.
Freeze me! I don't know if Hydra's going to take
I hope he kind of becomes a point in the Black Panther movie.
It could.
Like Claw wants to have the Winter Soldier under his control. I think it'd be a good plot point.
But we got Infinity War coming up. We got all kinds of stuff coming up. So all I can say is forward to the future. Everybody, from all of us here, please.
Stan Lee's cameo kicked ass.
Yep.
Tony Stank?
No matter what side you landed on, be it Team Cap or, Team Iron Man, just remember, at the end of the day, it is only a movie. So, everybody, take care. And on that note, good night.
Here comes the Nomad.